What is the basic difference? Who can say? Make to order means first you have to order, then production start. First you have to order, then production start. Suppose, for example, a ship, SHIP ship, or missiles. ଏଇଥିରେ କ'ଣ ହଉଛି ଆଗେ ଆପଣ ଅର୍ଡର ଦେଲେ ସେ ଯାଇକିରି ତାଙ୍କର ପ୍ରଡକ୍ସନ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବେ ମେକ୍ ଟୁ ଅର୍ଡର ମେକ୍ ଟୁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ଅଲରେଡି ପ୍ରଡକ୍ସନ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ଆପଣ ଗଲେ କିଣିକି ନେଇ ଆସିଲେ କି ଯାହା କଲେ ଏଠି ହଉଛି ଫର୍ ଦ ଅନ୍ ଦ ବେସିସ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଦ quality function deployment it is a tool which transforms customer requirement into product parameter so that it is a basically matrix indicating what is required and how to achieve it. Then 8, Taguchi technique. In Taguchi technique, basically, normally any problem is a function of various factors so that we can identify or we can find the real factor, various combinations of the combination, and we should identify the defect. ଆମେ defect identify କରିପାରିବା. Another technique is design review. Design a review. What is the design review? Design review the concept under development required on the basis of the study. So for this, design review helps function deployment. Both it is used in short-term and long-term basis. For the design review, first before production start, we should or engineer design the particular system. On the basis of that, then you should review the system. Another tool is failure mode and effect analysis. Failure mode, FMEA, and the failure effect analysis. So that there are two types of tools that are used for reviewing the design. ଆମେ ଯୋଉ design ଟା କଲେ that should be reviewed on the basis of failure mode effect analysis and fault tree analysis, FTA. So these are two tools are used for reviewing the design of any product before it is productionized. Production haba ପୂର୍ବରୁ that should be revised or designed. It helps locating flow in design which will lead to failure or failure to meet the customer's requirement for the specified product performance. Product performance हवा पूर्व हमको एटा पूरा आगु Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? ପଳେଇଲା କଣ ମଝିରେ ତ। ଆଚ୍ଛା, ପୋକାୟୋକ। ପୋକାୟୋକ means we should to avoid unintentional error। ଆମେ କାମ କରିବା ଭିତରେ କିଛି ଏରର ହେଇଯାଉଛି। ଦ ଜାପାନିଜ ଫିଲୋସଫି ଜାପାନିଜ ୱାର୍ଡ ଏଟା। The logic is that it is the natural property of human being to commit error unknowingly during any operation they perform. So that if someone system is there that helps the preventing the error or preventing the mistakes can be eliminated. So Pokaeko aims at tool elimination possible of human error। ସେ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିବ ତାକୁ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଏରର ଟାକୁ କେମିତି ସେ ଆଭଏଡ କରିବ। ଲାଷ୍ଟ ୱାନ୍ ଇଜ କାଇଜେନ। କାଲି ଜଷ୍ଟ କହିଥିଲି କାଇଜେନ stands for continuous improvement। That means small involvement but carried out on a continuous basis and involving all the people in the organization। So Kaizen believes the principle is that a very large number of small improvements are more effective in an organization, environmental, and few improvement of the large value। ଟିକେ ଛୋଟ ଇମ୍ପ୍ରୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲେ ବି ଗୋଟେ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନ ପାଇଁ ବହୁତ କାମ ଦିଏ। କାଇଜେନ ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ କାଇ ପ୍ଲସ୍ ଜେନ୍। କାଇ ହେଲା କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଅସ୍, ଜେନ୍ ହେଲା ଇମ୍ପ୍ରୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ। So that Kaizen continuous improvement must be necessary in any organization। ଆପଣ ଭାବିବେନି ଯେ ଛୋଟ ଜିନିଷ ନା ନା, ଛୋଟ ଜିନିଷଟା ବହୁତ ହେଲ୍ପ କରିବ। So that it is one of the most powerful TQM tool। Another philosophy is Kaizen is do not believe what is practiced now is the best। There could be the better method of the doing the thing। So Kaizen is the part of total involvement system। So Kaizen is a way of life। ଆଜିକାଲି Kaizen way of life ରେ ଆପଣ ଯିବେ। ସମସ୍ତେ ଯେମିତି ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ଡେଟ୍ ହଉଛନ୍ତି। ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ଡେଟ୍ ସମସ୍ତେ ହଉଛନ୍ତି ନା ନାଇଁ? ଏବେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ଡେଟ୍ ହବାକୁ ବାଧ୍ୟ, ନହେଲେ ସୋସାଇଟିରେ ଚଳିପାରିବେନି। ଠିକ ସେମିତି Kaizen is a total involvement process। So we should develop our product or our system in a continuous improvement। ଆଗେ ଯେମିତି ସବୁ ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରାଡିସନାଲ ଏକ୍ଜାମିନେସନ ହଉଥିଲା, ବର୍ଷକରେ ଥରେ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ହଉଥିଲା। କାହିଁକି ଏବେ କାହିଁକି ହଉଛି ସବୁ ସେମିଷ୍ଟାର ଏକ୍ଜାମ କାହିଁକି ହଉଛି? କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଅସ୍ ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ ପ୍ରୋସେସ। ଆପଣ ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଅସ୍ କରି ପଢିବା ଯାଉଥିବେ। ଯୋଉମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ମୋମେଣ୍ଟ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ବର୍ଷକରେ ଥରେ ପିଲା ବୁଲୁଥିବେ, ଲାଷ୍ଟ 2 ମାସ ପାଠ ପଢିବେ, ସେଇଟାକୁ ସେ ଉଠେଇ ଦେଲେ continuous improvement। So that in establishing TQM in an organization, there are so many steps are there। First, you should establish the 5S campaign। Second is your company-wide quality control system। Third one is alert the consistent priority, development of quality policy। Fifth, quality control diagnosis and uses। Sixth is the quality assurance। देखो आजिकली सब डिपार्टमेंट ଗୋଟେ क्वालिटी assurance ଅଛି। Sixth is the quality control circle। then quality control education and training। जो हम क्वालिटी कंट्रोल क्वालिटी सर्कल करछु, ता ପାଇଁ ତାର ଫ୍ୟାକଲ୍ଟି ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ତାର ୱାର୍କର କୁ ଟ୍ରେନିଂ ଦେବା ଦରକାର। Education is the must for every employee starting from chairman to worker। Training and participation should be automation and participative। So in-house or out-house training, ଅଲଗା ତମେ କହୁଛ କଣ of the job training and on the job training ଦରକାର। Then the development and application of the quality control chart। Last one is techniques are tailored to suit need। So that quality control techniques employed in any organizations are tailor-made and modified in some interval। So interval modified କରିବା ଦରକାର। So there are two approaches of the modification। One is your on the basis of inspection, on the basis of the MBO ପଢିଛ କୋଉଠି HR जो management by objectives କୋଉଠି ପଢିଛ ସେଟା principles of management ରେ ପଢିଥିବ। MBO appraisal feedback अच्छा आपण ମାନଙ୍କ भितर कार थिबो एचआर भी थिबो स्पेशलाइजेशन। हेलो हेलो।
Yes, sir. Yes.
अच्छा और एचआर रे गोटे पढिथिबे अप्रेजल पढिथिबे 360 डिग्री अप्रेजल।
Yes, sir. Yes.
अच्छा मते कहले 720 अप्रेजल कोन? 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल टा कोन? 360 डिग्री अप्रेजल जानि छथि। अच्छा 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल टा कोन? हेलो पढिछथि ना जाननांती कोन? 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल। हेलो 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 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल टा कोन? कुहतु
Unable to recall, sir. That's the problem.
720 डिग्री अप्रेजल 360 डिग्री अप्रेजल आपण मन जानि छथि। पढिछथि बस 720 इन ईयर ट्वाइस दुई थर जदि हेजिबो ट्वाइस हे गेले सेटा गेला 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल। 360 डिग्री अप्रेजल वर्ष थरे होतला। जदि 360 डिग्री अप्रेजल जदि वर्ष दुई थर हबो दैट इज कॉल्ड 720 डिग्री अप्रेजल राइट। अच्छा हां आज एति थाउ काली के मु करिवे। आज मु किछि पठौछि मटेरियल ताको टिके देखिबे देखिले मु काली की सेटा डिस्कशन करबी।
Sir,
कोटी मते
sir, class रे पढ़िला बेले जदि टी स्लाइड शेयर करंते सटी बेटर होंदा।
हां हां स्लाइड तो दे दियो स्लाइड तो स्लाइड तो 10 लाइन लिखले स्लाइड हे जो।
Sir, material
सर
कहाँ
मु
देबे?
मटेरियल किछि
कहाँ
पठौ
देबे?
मटेरियल पर कहले जे दीपक को देबा को
हाँ sir, दीपक sir दियंतु ना कौन तो से ग्रुप रे शेयर करते।
अदर मु दीपक को पठै दोछे बे
दीपक sir ने कहबे
पठै
ग्रुप रे
दोछे।
टिके बेडा EMBA ग्रुप रे शेयर
हां
कले
हां
हमें इजीली एक्सेस हे परिबा।
हां हां थैंक यू थैंक यू
Thank you.
Good.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
हां हां ये कौन है ऊपर पके कौन करते हां तळे बोल
ଆରେ ଆମର ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସ ହବ କି?
ଫୋନ କରିକି ପଚାର।
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Audible. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Microphone is not working. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Is it audible right now clearly?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, okay. Tapan sir, class is already over, I think so.
Yes,
Tap.
sir.
Okay, okay, right, right. That's right. Uh, you already know this is the paper what I write now. It will be taken into account. It is the paper related to OPC, Operation Planning and Control. I think so.
Yes, sir. It's OPC.
Okay, that's right. So, any idea related to this OPC? Anyone?
This is also related to operational activity in an organization.
Uh-huh.
And that's big thing, sir. Not briefly I know about this.
Okay. Any other person, please? Can you? Any other persons? Okay. Okay. In this particular case, normally we take into account the term, I mean, enter, process, the how, I mean, the input it to be converted into the output. Okay, that means the operation planning and control. That means how the operation process to be takes place. As you already know that meaning of your operations, that is nothing but how the input to be converted into the output, right? So in this case, the three things are there: input, process, and output. In every sort of things, that means in input we take into account certain planning. In process also we take into account a certain amount of the planning and control. Exactly in the same part in the output also have some sort of planning and control. So what are those things to be taken into account? Let for example, suppose we collected some my intention to the manufacturing some product. In the manufacturing certain product, we have to take into account some input factor, and those input must be up to the quality. If you don't take into account the quality input, never, whatever the process may be, the output never turns to be the better one. So input must have to be qualitative input. And we have to plan it, how much we have to get input to be collected, then where we have to be store it, and then in which way to manage the entire inventory process, right? Then when we have to order and how much that we have to ordering it. And thereafter the terms it will be the if the some input to be already let to be exhausted to be then how you have to replacing it, the replacement of the order to be there. And if you're moving to the output again, there existence of the forecasting component. That means again, input for having the forecasting, output also having certain amount of forecasting. That means the forecasting means when the how much it will be required, then how much we have to collect the resources to be there, how you have to be, I mean, converted into, and what are the, let's say, amount of your spare part that you have to put inside the inventory. That is the entire component of the forecast, whether it is the qualitative forecasting component on the basis of the time, or it is the quantitative again on the basis of the time series or the exponential component to be that. So because the entire series of the data, it may be a time series data, or it will be the, I mean, the that is called as the exponential data to be that, right? We can forecast in the cyclical way, we can forecasting it. And while you're working in account the forecasting, we may come across some sort of errors are there that we have to analyze here. In the same part, in case of your, let's say, the entire amount of your forecasting, we have to take into account different methods of the forecasting. Okay, like in time series, we may take into account the moving average, weighted moving average. It may be the exponential average. It may the take into account the term smoothing average to be there, right? So those things that we have to cover in this particular paper also. Then if you take into account the, I mean, aggregate planning process, let's say suppose the demand fluctuated. If the demand to be increases, then how you have to be manage the increased demand in which you provide the supply to that particular increased demand. Whether it be the chase strategies, whether we have to follow the level strategies, that we have to take into account in the case of your aggregate planning also. And in case of aggregate planning, we may come across the all kind of material requirement planning also with that. That is a part of the inventory also. That is a part of a inventory. You can take the case of your MRP is there, but here in your syllabus, it may have the MRP 1, MRP 2, I think so be. I have to check it. What are the things there, right? Similarly, while you entering into the productions process, inside the production process, we may take into account the sequencings are there, different varieties of sequencings that we have to take into account. It may be the sequencing on the basis of the single, I mean, let's the I mean, the one task to be there are different type of multiple options are there. I mean, one machine, multiple tags. It may be multiple machine, multiple tags. There are the different varieties of sequencing that we have to coming in the account and elaborating it, it is there. And then scheduling also be there. We have to make the schedule also be, right? Then it may be the job shop or the process shops are there. And those are the things it is there inside your, I mean, syllabus. And beside that, we take into account some part of your, I mean, the production scheduling inside that the time, I mean, the line balancing methods are there. It may be the resource planning are there. Then what is the cycle time? Then how much workstation that you have to be taken into account in order to process of entire productions, right? So these are the basic concepts that we have to cover in this particular lesson. I mean, that is the productions operation planning control, right? So let me start with a simple technique. Which one we have to, let's say, let me, I have to be share my slide, take some, have some patience. I have to enter into the search is where it there. Just a minute, have patience. I have to insert my pen drive and search it where it is. Have patience to be there. I think this is your first class, right? Uh, let me open the removable drive to be there. Then we have to share the things. Productions, planning, and control. Just a minute, have patience. Operations, planning, and control. Routing and scheduling. It may be dispatching is there also. Okay. Inventory management, lessons, objective process, operating function and process. Okay, so I start with I have to share my slide to be there. Just a minute. Slide share. Share the screen. Share it. I think it is visible. Is it visible right now?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
visible.
All right. Let's say either it is the production planning and control or the operation planning and control. The meaning is more or less same. So for the productions, we take into account the introduction part of it, right? After the introductions in the, coming sessions, we have to cover the entire concept what is to be there in your syllabus, right? So productions planning and control, we can define as it is the direction and the coordinations of the firm's materials and the physical facilities towards the attainment of the pre-specified production's goal. Because we know, to whether we are to manufacturing the goods or we are to manufacturing some services, I mean, providing some amount of the services, whether to provide the services or manufacturing some of the goods and so on. So in that case, we have certain pre-specific concept. That means, yes, I have to provide the service in this pattern, or I have to produce my product in this particular pattern, like that. So here we have certain planning, the pre-specified production's goal. And to achieving that particular goal, okay, with most economically as well as the most effectively, that is to be known as the OPC, or it is called the PCC. That means the production planning control or the operation planning and control, right? So that is the production planning control ultimately emphasizes the quantity, quality, time, and price. Mark the four concepts. Quantity, that means that quantity tells you how much you have to take in order to manufacturing the product, how much raw material you have to finding out. Then you have to taking into account that quantity, amount of the quantity raw materials, exactly with the help of those quantity raw material, how much quantity of output that you have to manufacturing it. But while you providing some of the goods as well as the services in terms of the numbers, we take the concept of the quality. Whether the qualitative inputs are there, whether our process is inside the quality concepts or not, or our the productions also, we are the final product, it is the qualitative or not. So we have to comparing those things with the help of your time and price. Why we take the case of your time and price? Because we know if we take the a limited amount of the time period, let's say there is a less time into manufacturing the product, right? In that particular case, the price may be more. But if there is a large number of times, you have plenty of amount of the times are available with you to manufacturing the product or you to meet the demand, then in that case, the price may be negotiated. So the price, time, quality, and quantity, they are the most important component of your planning and control, right? If you, what you have to planning, what you have to control, because our control or the planning is that input, process, and the output to be there, right? So we have to considering the amount of the quantity, what is the concept of the quality, and the time and the price to be there. That is the whole goal of your productions planning and control. Now, the production means it is a done, production is done by manufacturing the efficient things with various processes. Because whether you have to produce the goods, you have to remember, while we take the concept of the productions, it is the productions of your goods as well as the services. It is not only goods or only services, because we have to comparing both goods and services. That means nowadays we are, what do you find? The service sector is to be emphasized over the production center, because nowadays every find we can I mean street every I mean let's say the township or the I mean states are there. I mean services are to be more than what the manufacturing to be takes place, because service sector is to be increased at a faster rate. So while we express the concept of the production, we have to turn both the component, what is called the production, as well as the, I mean, the production of the goods as well as the services. Then come down to the second part of it, the planning. In planning, why where the planning is required? Let's say, for example, suppose you are enter into appearing the exam. But it is, you say that yes, today is to be, let's say, for example, it is the 10th of the May. Then let us the 25th of May, there is an exam. Then in that case, you have only 15 days are left. You have to plan what are the papers that you have, how many time per day is available, and in which way with the available time and there is the availability of the papers and the scheduling of your date of exam of the different papers, then you have to plan how to read or cover the entire courses. So planning is required. Without planning, we can come across the difficulties inside the exam hall, as well as your output, that is your marks that you have to obtain after the exam, appearing the exam, that also be reflected upon your planning. If you plan properly, then you find your output, your marks to be the far better. So therefore, the planning is to be required. So the planning is the definite, are they setting the goals are there. Then after knowing the term, the productions are after that, the planning, now move to the term, what is called the control. In case of a control, what if the control fails, the makes the sure that the programmed productions is, constantly maintained or not so. Because you plan it. If you make a plan, then you have to check it, whether you're planning, you have to act according to your planning or not so. Then you have to controlling it. Right. So therefore, if you back to your total quality management paper, there may be existence of your what is called the Deming's, PDC cycle to be there. Now the plan, do, check, and act. So that is the planning is that you have to make some of the plan, then you have to do the things, and thereafter you have to check it whether our acting or the planning it to be in a perfect direction or not. So thereafter to modifying it, then you have to act accordingly. So therefore, the control mechanism is always required, whether you are to manufacturing the goods as well as your services. This is a basic, important component, what is called the introductions part of your productions, planning, and control. Now, then question to be arises, what are the major relations that we take, between your productions planning and the control? Because market, I would be segregate the terms, productions planning and there are the control. So there exists a very close, the interrelationship among the phases of the function. Why it is the phases? Because phases means input, process, and output, right? So among the phases and the functions of the productions planning and control, and they are mutually supporting each other. Because for example, suppose you have to try to manufacturing the gold. It is not so that you have to enter the, take into account different type of woods are there. With the help of the woods, you have to process severely. Never you find the gold from the wood. Okay. So therefore, we have to take the proper input factor into manufacturing the desired output. If the input are to be not perfect, whatever the process may be, the output is not to be up to the mark. Therefore, you have to take the concept, the input in a better way and process them in a systematic manner, and you have to achieving your goal, that is your output to be that. Therefore, you require the term management, the planning. The relations with this productions planning and the productions control. Two things are there because the planning and control. And here is the productions because you take the case of the productions or the operation, more or less, both things to be synonymous terms are there. And the planning consent with the formulations of the production strategies and the target for the enterprises, whereas the control is vested with the actual implementations and executions of the planned objective. So what you find here, the productions, what is the planning is concerned with, because of the formulation of the strategies. Means it is not the short-term strategies. We have to take into account the long-term planning, right? In order to achieving the target, right? That strategies and the targets are the enterprise. Whereas the control is to be vested with the actual implementations. Because plan, if you make the plan, it is not so. Only making the planning. Let's say you take the today is the New Year's Day and there's a first of a particular New Year. We say no, this sort of things not going to be takes place in this particular year. You have to plan. Yes, I have to make some resolutions for this particular year. Then only making the resolution is not the output because you have to act accordingly. Okay, so the planning is not important. It is important, but with the help of the plan, you have to move ahead, right? So because you have to make the control yourself, because you have to make that you are unable to control yourself or the production process, then it is very difficult to achieving your goal. So control is the best at the actual implementations and the executions of the planned objectives. Here, the productions planning it determines the operations required to manufacture the product, and the control regulates the and the supervise those of operations. So, what the productions planning is that it will be required? Actually, it tells that the operations it required to manufacture the product and the controls that regulate the supervise these operations. Because let's say you know the term, it's maintenance management. It's not necessary that you have to purchase a bike, then you have to just fill the fuel and ride it. No, it is not so. If you don't, to make the proper maintenance of your bike, then you have to find there is a replacement expenses to be much more than the, due to the maintenance expenses. So you require some amount of the maintenance part to also be, to avoid any kind of replacement part. So therefore, the planning is required. So without the planning, you can't achieving the things. The productions control informations, the organizations can locate something in the planning process and the necessary modifications can be done at the time of the planning in the future. Similarly, the productions control operations can be improved to adjust with the planning requirements because you know that the organization's goal is to be certain things because it can be coming in the planning phases are there because we know if you don't make the planning properly it is very difficult to obtain your existing goal. Therefore, it is necessary to make some modifications according to the requirement for the time to time. Then we can achieving our goal in the near future. So production planning, actually it controls the operations, entire operations can be controlled and it to be adjusted in such a way to achieving the prerequisite goal. So the planning is required because planning and acting on it. So plan and act. So these are the two interdependent terms, I think. Okay. Now we're moving to the next. What is the need of this particular productions planning and control or the operation planning and control? Actually, the very important idea or the most important, requirement for this particular paper is that, or this particular topic is that it is the effective utilizations of the firm's resources. Because in the very beginning, I told you that how the inputs are to be properly utilized. If the inputs are not properly utilized, it's very difficult to manufacture in the required output. Okay. So therefore, effective utilizations of the farm resources, the very what is that? Let's say resources means what? Here the resources, it may be the time, it may be raw materials, or it may be the man also be that. So the man, material, and mason. If you don't using all these three M's, then it is very difficult to achieving your goal. Okay. So the effective utilization of this man, material, and farming, that is the all kind of the farm's resources are the very important, instruments of the or the objective of the productions planning and control. To achieve the production's objective concerning the quality, quantity, cost, timelessness of the delivery, because you know the term, you are unable to deliver deliver your product or the services on time, the customer may be moved to the other end, because there is a top competition nowadays to be takes place both in goods as well in the service sector. So therefore, the planning is required because you have to make the planning into achieving those sort of things. That means you have to make the qualitative product, the desired quantity you are going to be manufacturing it, because according to the requirement of the time period of the manufacturing those product. Alongside of it, the cost, because the cost matter, because the cost and the price have to be, because the price completely depending on the cost. If you manufacture the huge amount of product, then the cost to be reduces, but the qualitative product also be the cost price to be increases, and on time delivery to the customers. So it is possible if you plan properly. Then come to the third point, to obtain the uninterrupted production flow. So uninterrupted production flow, because why it is required? Because if you are unable to maintain your inventory properly, your material requirement it will fail, because you don't know how much product, how much material to be required per day into manufacturing certain amount of product, and how many batches of the production should be taken per day. That will also be take care of it, or that may be taken into account, to considering the term how we are to, uninterrupted, without any error, without any fault, we are to manufacturing of the product. So it is possible if you maintain the inventory properly. So the often the uninterrupted production flow to meet the customer's demand concerning the quality and committing the delivery schedule, on time delivery. Because in the previous second part, what you find, the quality, quantity, cost, and timelessness of your delivery. These are the very important thing of the planning control. Then come to the next point, to help the company to supply the good quality of the product, the customers continuously at the company rates, because it is not so that you have to raise your product, you have to raise your quality of the product to increase the price of the product. No, it is not so. So maintain a constant quality. What is called the consistency in your productions process. If you maintain your consistency in the productions process, the entire thing to be goes smoothly. Otherwise, you have to face the problem. So therefore, production planning control also will help the company to supply the good quality of the product to the customers, right, in a continuous manner without any delay. Now, after knowing the need, come down to the next part. What are the objectives of the productions planning and control? Let's say one by one of it. We have to express in this one. Okay. Now let's the first point. Production planning control systems integrate and coordinates the use of manpower, masons, and the materials for the effective productions to meet the sales requirement. Because in the very beginning of this particular, the introductions part, I already told you that how the production planning is required to coordinate the all the M's are there. That means manpower, mason as well as the material, because our target is to be achieving a goal. I mean, what is your goal? Goal is to be how to increase your market share, how to, I mean, expand your market and so on. This second point, second objective is to the design a system of and the plan by which the productions may be carried out to meet the promised delivery rate. I mean, there is a specific date that you have to deliver your product and the services to the customers, consistent with the minimum cost and quality standard. Because if you take the case of the quality, actually, nowadays the quality to be most important, because while you purchase a mobile phone, while you purchase the dress material, whether we have to purchase the term, let's say any kind of electronics item, gadgets, and the automobile sector also, with that we have required the quality. Because the quality, if you depending upon the best quality, obviously the price is to be very high. Because let for example, you have to try to make my photos that be the perfect one. Let's say I have to take into account OnePlus or the let the iPhone that we have to purchase. But market the iPhone deliver the I mean systematic and the desired output to be that in case of your camera qualities. But side by side, take the case of your cost. The cost also be increases. It's not so that you have to better quality with the low cost, but that is the consumer's point of view. But you have to think about the producer's point of view also, because the maintaining the quality is not easy task. So to design a system and the plan by which the productions may be carried out to meet the promised delivery date, consistent with the minimum cost and the quality standard, to ensure the efficient utilizations of the production's facilities, because all the floor, I mean all the masons specifically, or the materials ought to be those who are the laborers who are used in the productions process, they are going to be optimally utilized. If we are unable to optimally utilize those sort of inputs, then it is very difficult to maintain a desired quality output. So utilizing the production facility is the important part, and it is possible with the help of the planning. Then the coordinate the productions activities with a different department, because as you know, it is not the you have to proud that it is our department. It is not because in order to manufacture a certain product, it will be passes through the different department. Let's say, for examples, suppose you are to be manufacturing a particular dress material. Let's say your, into manufacturing the dress, we have to take the first bit in the first department, the measurement department, second department, the cutting department, next is the stitching department, bottoming department, pressing department, labeling, packing, and so on. So each that means if the final product, it is the dress, whether it is the trousers or the shirts or something else. So that is the final output. That final output, it will depending upon the all the departments. The final output is the better if and only if inter-department, there is no barrier in the department. If you find some error to be there in the cutting department, stitching to be error. Stitching error, all things are going to be error. So therefore, we have to make a proper coordinations between all the department. Then come down to the next point, the maintain adequate but not excessive stock of the raw material, work in progress, and the finished goods. What do you find? To meet the production's requirement and delivery schedule at most the economical level. Because market, this particular point completely depending on the inventory. It tells us how you have to manage your inventory, because without interrupt your production's process. Right. That is also be possible if you maintain your stock properly. That is again a part of the planning and control. They ensure the productions of the right product, the right quality at the right time. This is another things, but it, again, total quality management depending upon that part also with the on time. Take a on time delivery, just in time. So they ensure the right product in the right quality and the right time. Then next is to maintain the flexibility in manufacturing the operations to accommodate the rush job or to meet the contingencies are there. So the rush job in the sense accommodate, because there mean the suddenly some peak demand to be high. So in order to meet the demand, you try to manufacture more and more amount of the product, and that maybe lead to some problem arises. But in that case, how to managing it? That is the aggregate planning is required. Whether you have to outsourcing it, or you have to, well, let's say, hiring or the firing of the laborers are there, or workforce. Similarly, we can the back ordering, subcontracting. There the different techniques are there how to accommodate the increased demand, how to meet the increased demand. I mean, all kind of contingencies are there, but how to meet those contingencies? So therefore, we require some planning. Then come to the coordinate the labor, masons, and the equipment the most effectively and economically, ensuring the smooth flow of the material by eliminating the bottlenecks, if any, in the production system. Because productions flow it to be easy if and only if there is no such bottlenecks are there. Even though we find some amount of the bottleneck in the different department, we try to modifying. We have to change the department. I mean, layout so as to minimizing or eliminating all kind of the bottlenecks in the manufacturing process or the flow of the productions process. So that how to eliminating that bottlenecks. These are the emphasis of your OPC. That means that finding out where is the bottleneck and how to eliminating the bottlenecks in each and every department of the production process. Then to provide alternate production strategies to chase the that means we know while you manufacturing some goods and services, it is not so that the constant amount the goods always demanded, a constant amount the services always demanded. Let for example, suppose you are to running one hospital. If you're running the hospital, you know, my capacity of the hospital is to be, let's say, the 100. So 100 beds at the capacity of the hospital. That means the how many number of beds are there? Suppose, let's say, there is a serious accident which takes place nearby, or I mean, that particular hospital. In that, the thousands of the patients to the rush to that particular hospital because there is no other hospital nearby there. Then how to, I mean, to meet that crisis situations? So you have to some alternate production strategy are there. You have to make some planning how to meet that increased demand. Right? The demand here is the case of the in my example, it is the demand for the services. So how instantly you have to manage these things? That means you take into account the huge amount of your requirement is to be ambulance are there, which should be rushed to the take the patient to the nearby hospital and treat all these patients and so on. That is your responsibilities. So that means how you have to make the alternate strategy are there, you know, to meet all kind of emergency crisis. Again, it is a part of your planning is there. So these are the major objective of the productions planning control or the operation planning and control. Now, come to the next things. What are the factors that affect the productions planning and control or operation planning and control? So the things are the what are the I mean and the factor that is to be affecting it. Let's say take into account certain factors. The first of all is to take the case of the use of computers. But why we require this computer? It helps the accurate computations and the required of the material and machine. Why, right? This is the case of your MRP system, SAP. So what that SAP or the MRP1, MRP2, which stands for ERP is there. Because all things are to run, it is the software driven answer to that. Because it may be CAD, it may be CAM to be that the different, I mean, production systems, I mean, what is called as the, I mean, softwares are available, right? You know, to managing all man, material, and material. So how man, material, and material to be utilizes, you can help, but the manually it is very difficult. Therefore, the computer to be required. So manual handling it will be very difficult, and therefore we have to converting the planning concept inside the computer, and then we have to plan that one. That is the affecting the need for the forecast, production planning and control. Then come to the second part, what is called the seasonal variations. Because quite recently, what I say, the demand fluctuated because according to the demand, let's say if you're moving to the in different type of hill stations during the summer period, we can take the demand for the hill station is very high. whether they're moving to the Gangtok, whether they're moving to the Siliguri, or we take the case of your, let's say, Darjeeling or something else, or the Ooty are there. So the demand, these are the seasonal spots are there where if you take the case of the during the peak period of the summer, the demand is very high. The hotels are the demanded with the higher rate, and therefore the charge more price as compared to the winter season. In winter, there is a heavy snowfall to expect, no one moving to that particular point. So there is a problem to be arises. So seasonal variation, the demand for the certain product is to be affected by the seasons. For instance, here it take into account the umbrellas are there, raincoats are there during the monsoons are there. What I say right now, the different hotel industries, service sectors are there. There also be, plan how to meet the increased demand during the peak time period. Then taste marketing. The products are to be the test, the marketed to know the trends. Because in order to manufacturing certain goods or the services also, let's say you try to manufacture the mobile set or the manufacturing some other any other electronic gadget or the computers or the laptops or something else are there, the watches are there, then you have to test it whether the customers are to be demanded or not so, or what are the other competitors that are available in the market, and is there any requirement to the modifying it and something else. So the products are to be tested, marketed to know the trend, because on the basis of the demand in the market, we have to change our production strategy, styles, and so on. In case of a fashion technology, these things should be taken into account, because what is the demand in the market? On the basis of that, you have to change it. Then come to the after sale services. Only it is not so that the producer or the sale, the service sector, they try to manufacture the goods and they sell it. No, 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 that is not the case. Because after sales, why we take the case of the feedback mechanism? Always there exists. When you're moving into into the hotel, when you enter into the any workstations, but you provide the service to your vehicles and so on, or any kind of electronic sector to be that, we find there is a feedback mechanism. Why this feedback mechanism required? Because the service sector, the manufacturing sector, they try to know, extract the what are the other modifications are there, where is my faults are there, and then how to overcome those sort of faults. So that it again in the same pattern after sell service. Once you sell it, it is not so. That is not the that is one part of the interproduction process. Because after sell service is a very, very important part. Because the many items are the required for the repair purpose, also with the maintenance is required, but they don't know. Suppose let for example you have to purchase a particular mobile set, and it is a high-end mobile, you don't know how to operating it. Then what you find, you have to rush to that particular service center, and then the service center provide, yes, this is the way to utilizing it. But if the service center says, no, no, this is not my item, it's not purchased from my side and so on, then you have to face the problem. So therefore, after sales service, that is it is required, and that is to be for why it is essential, because it should be entered into the planning part, because only the sales is not your target. You have to retain your customer is a very, very important part. Then comes to the losses due to the unpredictable. Okay, there may be we can these are the exceptional cases are there, or unavoidable cases are there. Shortages of the input due to the accidents, fares, thrift, and the production's inputs. Many materials and the components, such as the factor that upsets the planned production's schedule and time and the quality. Let's suppose you try in a travel agencies. Suppose take the case of your moving to the different part of your India or the abroad also with that. Inside the India, we will take the case of the best way of the communication in the train. While you're using the train, it is not so that all the trains are always on time. There may be, suppose in case of your, let's say hill station areas or any other places, there may be the high degree of landfalls are there, landslides are there. If there is a landslide to be takes place, then you have to find a delay in the trains are there takes. And once the delay to be takes place, it's very difficult to make up those delays are there, because it may be with the broad gauge or the it may be narrow lanes are available. Therefore, let's say the priority basis they provide the services to certain train, and you can find that maybe that delay to be takes place, because this is the unexpected concept, unpredictable component, because we don't know what happened in the near future. So therefore, that is the losses to be occurred. That too we have to what the planning is required for that particular purpose. We have to make the planning how to minimizing these losses. So my target is to minimize the losses if we take into account because of the planning. If there is no plan how to overcome these losses, then it's very difficult. Okay. So therefore, Losses to be occur, but you try to minimizing that losses because we know we do not know what happened in the near future. Then productions order. There are associations. I mean, there are the occasions are there when the last minute then prioritize the existing order due to the external pressure like your places are there, taste are there, preferences are there. There may be a lot of things are there takes place. In those cases, what to do? In those cases, we have to make some planning. Because let's say you have to order certain things in the Amazon or the Flipkart or something else. Then you have to find, no, you can find, no, this is available in another website, it is the cheapest cost. Then why you have to purchase from here? Then you have to cancel the order. Then in that case, again, the planning is required. How to meet those things? Nowadays, what happened? So in front of you, it will be open, and you have to claim, no, the product is not so. The type of the product, the quality of the product, the color of the product, design of the product, what I selected is not there. No, it is not so. In front of you, they open and deliver because we know there is certain. What planning is not there initially. Right now, company face some sort of problem. Now the planning is proper. So that is to be there. Planning, the perfect planning is required, but because in case of the production and order, design changes also. This is another issue to be occur because the time to time, day by day, we find all different varieties of changes to be takes place. Therefore, research and development to be taken into whether the providing the services, whether the manufacturing the goods, everywhere research and development to be takes place to meet the current requirement. I mean, what is the current requirement? What is the current trend? On the basis that try to produce it. You have to future expectations. What is there going to be changed in case of your production design part and the utilization of the product and so on the basis of the modifying a product and launching the things. Okay, so that is another factor that affecting the planning period also. Because the planning we to always you plan for certain thing, instantly some changes occur. Then what to do? You have to modifying a plan on that part. Then rejection and the replacement, that is the common occurrence that we express because requirement of the customer should be changes because of stage that changes, your plan also with the changes. Therefore, but it is not regular, it is the occasional concept. There are the occasions when the soft assemblies or the finished products or the finished goods are to be rejected during the stages of the final inspection because we know quality check, the quality department, each and every sector there is a quality department. Always they take the proper quality of the product. If it is not up to the mark, then it will be stop the production, that particular batch of the production, then you have to test it, where is the fault to be occur, and then you have to relaunch your product of that particular batch. Now, this is possible if you back to your again inside the total quality case that is called the statistical process control and quality control. That the different charts are available like your C chart, P chart, NP chart, right? The X bar chart, that the mean chart, range chart. Or it may be on the basis of the attribute on the variable. It may be CP chart, NP chart. A lot of charts are there. Quality charts are there. Okay, so those things are to be required here because whether to accepting or the rejecting the things, and every part planning is required, and our plan to be affected by due to those sort of factors. Now, come to the next most important part of it. What is the functions of your productions plan and control or operation planning and control? The functions means what? In which way to you make the plan and optimizing it or the executing the things. Okay, the functions aim at the efficient utilization of the material resources. People, that means here to the that is called the labor forces are there, and the facilities in any undertakings are there. The planning, coordinating, and controlling the production's activities that transform the raw material into the finished goods or the finished products or the components as most optimal manner. Because our target is to be better product, better quality, cheap price. I mean, the cost will be less, quality to be better, and quantity also the better. Those things are the the emphasis are there takes place in case of the production planning and control. We have to take care of it. How the input, what type of input you have to take, in which it is processing it, and how to meet the required demand. I mean, what is my finance product or the finished product with that. So the functions of the planning control to be takes place like this way: planning phase, action phase, control phase. In planning phase, what we find, we can take that the forecasting is there, then order, what is the writing it to be that, then the product is there, what is the product design, material control to be there, and the total control, and the loading, we take the monitoring, etc., etc. Okay. So those part it will be, planning phase. Then it comes to the action phase. In the action phase, whether to accept, reject, and thereafter the dispatching. Whether to accepting the product, then dispatch, or the reject the product, dispatch to the lowest station. Like that. That means you can the flow in a workflow, whether it may be forwarded or to the backward. So the forward means if the perfect one, dispatch to the next workstations. If it not, it is not okay, it will be rejecting it back to the previous station and so on. Like this is the action phase. Then come to the control phase. In case of a control phase, we require some data processing part because we have to plan it, forecasting it. Therefore, after forecasting, we have to controlling it. So the data processing, data expanding is that, and the replanning is that because our planning may be we make some actions to be perfect one. If not perfect, then we replan it. So these are the, the functions of your productions planning and control. So we have to express all the functions in this particular flow chart basis. Okay, I have to take this few minutes to explaining it, and the rest of the things in the coming class are elaborating it. So the planning phase, if the first phase, take these three things, the planning, actions, and the control, what I said in the previous slide. So the planning phase consisting of the prior planning and the action planning. What is the prior planning? Prior planning consists of the forecasting, order writing, then the production design. Okay, these are the three things to be explained in the prior concept, the prior planning. What is the forecasting is that, and the order writing is that, then the product design. But action planning is that the process planning and the routing is that in which way the processing it in, what is the path of it. Okay, so then so the total control, quality control is to be that, total control, then the loading and scheduling. These are the things comes under your action control. There's the planning part. If you move into the action phase, it is the dispatching. It is the perfect, it dispatch. If it's not perfect, it is the before to the previous case. That is the dispatching. Then come to the last part, what is called the control phase. Control phase consists in the two things, the progress control or to the corrective control. Corrective actions are the corrective control. So the progress report, what is the progress report in the sense? Whether they have to take the case of the data, first of the collecting the data and analyzing the data, interpreting the data, and on the basis of that, you have to know what is the progress takes place. Because where the product may be up to the mark, may not be up to the mark, that part comes under the data. What type of data we take? Again, data means collecting the sample part of whether you have to be that the three batches of the production, that in each batch, how we have to select the sample, how much data we require, that is the collection part, and analyzing the entire part, thereafter the interpreting the things. That is the, and after interpretation, you have to write down the progress control with that or the progress report with that. Then corrective action, if after finding some of a report, from the report we have to make some actions, whether to the expediting or to the replanning. So expediting means it will be okay, it's okay, then you're dispatching the things, that it's perfect product with that. Or in case of the replanning, if there is some modification required, the replan it, then moving to the action plan, and thereafter it will be control phases with that. That this is the whole part of your entire productions planning and control or operation planning control. Are you getting my things or not so? Please. Hello?
Yes,
Anyone?
sir.
Are you
Yes.
getting the? Okay, that's right. So this is from my side. I think I to be any other doubt we can say to me, please. You can ask me right now. You can ask me certain questions. If not though, not so questions are there, even there no such questions are there, you can move to the next session you can start. Is there
So
any
planning
questions?
and forecasting as well as last phase, control phase also is there.
Yes, 1 second, please.
Forecasting is there
Huh.
in initial stage as well as in control phase, right?
Obviously, because focus is required, because you have to to study the market. What type of product is required? You have to forecast that. On the basis of producing it, after producing, whether the product will be actually demanded in the market or not. So that because the forecasting is required in every part of it. In the planning part, as well as the dispatching or what is the demanding part of that. Every part there is a forecast techniques there. Right, forecasting is required because without forecast, what to make? Let's say to manufacture other things. If first of all, you have to judge it, what is the market trend? On the basis of the market trend, you try to manufacture the product. If there is trend is not there, if you manufacture the product, then you find the lost organizations. Therefore, the forecast is essential. Okay, please. Any other person, please? Okay, so if it is not so, I have to conclude right now. Thank you. Thank you for attending my session. Thank you, please.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
please share the slide.
Okay, later on, at the completion of phase, in the last class, I will be sharing all kind of slides to you people. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. In the last class, I had to ask you, you have to provide my your your WhatsApp number, anyone. Then I can sharing that, and thereafter you have to share the things to you people. Okay.
We have the number.
From which
Oh.
college?
I am.
Sir, if possible, please share the TPT to Deepak sir.
Okay, Deepak. Okay, do I provide the things for the Deepak? Thereafter,
It's too better from us.
from Deepak you can collect it. Oh, okay, no problem, madam. No problem. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.